It is a story told of bravery, of trailblazers, of men and women whose sacrifice would help protect a nation. It is a story woven with triumph and tragedy. Its pages date back to the birth of our country, yet like her, its ending remains unwritten. This is the story of you. This is the story of the Maine Air National Guard. The 101st stands as one of the most recognized and decorated Air National Guard units in the country. Its history is one of people, of citizens, students, workers, and parents, laced from the fabric of every community across this great state, with the common goal of keeping our freedom and way of life secure from those who would threaten it.
It's an older organization that prides itself on its traditions and the traditions that work, that carry forward year after year.
Even throughout training, before I officially became a Maniac, as soon as somebody saw that patch, the level of respect that I was given, it seemed like everybody had a positive story about the Maniac. So being part of such a highly respected organization means a lot to me. I try to live up to that.
Since its inception in 1947, the 101st has gone through many changes. It has not only proven to survive these changes, but has become the model of efficiency and effectiveness for the entire Air Force and National Guard.
I can't think of a better job in the state of Maine than to work here. I mean, people don't get to do what I do, and I have a good time while I do it. You know, I get to train people, I get to be trained. You get responsibility, you get taskings. You know, you get to work on airplanes, and it's awesome.
What makes the 101st stand out and unique is the reputation that we have for taking care of others when they come through here. It's an organization that's very steeped in its traditions and its roots. It's family-oriented. People have been here a long time, and they understand the values of customer service and taking care of those that come through. And it's a reputation that the Maniacs and the 101st hold throughout the world, every place I've ever been.
The 101st, affectionately known as the Maniacs, as reflected in their patch, is an organization with a tradition of excellence, teamwork, and commitment to the mission, a credo they have taken with them to every corner of the world.
You talk to any one of the other units out there and they know the Maniacs. They know our patch, the Maniac patch, and they know what comes with that professionalism.
It means excellence, if you want to put it in one word. The Maniacs mean excellence.
From the Korean conflict to Desert Storm, down through the years, the Maniacs have always been at the forefront in assisting with our nation's war efforts. Then came a day that changed America forever. A day the Maniacs from the 101st would witness firsthand.
3 members of the Maine Air Guard out of Bangor were flying a training mission over Long Island on 9/11. Little did they know that they'd become players in the historic drama as the Twin Towers fell before their eyes. This footage was taken a month and a half after 9/11 from a Maine Air National Guard tanker over Manhattan. The refueling missions over Ground Zero were classified at that time and had been ever since the morning of the attacks, when a crew of Mainers watched history unfold. Andy Marshall, Robert Fair, and Adam Jenkins were on a training mission on September 11th, just a few minutes flying time from Ground Zero.
We started getting some confusing messages on the radio, and suddenly a much more authoritative voice came over the phone and said, "Head west, we'll give you more details." And as we headed towards New York City, we could see the Twin Towers, and they appeared to me at least, to be 2 big smokestacks rising above the city, with the smoke trailing down south of the city into the harbor.
The F-15s we wound up refueling were alert fighters that were scrambled. We weren't real certain what we were responding to, and neither were they, but suffice it to say, we knew that there had been an impact and knew there was a fire, and all of that was still being processed as we essentially flew air cover. Potentially, I think the fighters might have been looking for additional aircraft inbound to additional targets.
A thought that crossed my mind, and I expressed it to
Colonel Jenkins that day on the flight that there'd be some people not going home that night and some kids without some parents. It's a very sad moment.
I think we all have in the backs of our mind as we go to fly that, again, we're called upon to do a very important mission, and I don't think we'll ever forget what started it all.
It was chaotic. Like I said, it was sad, and it really wanted you to take the fight to the enemy.
And taking the fight to the enemy is exactly what the 101st did. Because of its location, the Maine Air National Guard was tasked with providing critical refueling operations for the military and supporting readiness for the nation's defense. The Maniacs also provided manpower, deploying aviation, engineer, medical, and military police units to Afghanistan and the Middle East.
Prior to 9/11, we were working a Monday through Friday operation, and with a deployment maybe once a year. Post 9/11, we've been maintaining a 24-hour operation here at home while deploying personnel all over the world.
From refueling war-fighting aircraft in flight to supporting airlift and cargo missions, the Maniacs from the 101st remained the backbone of the United States Strategic Command and Global Strike Operations. In the air and on the ground, committed to protecting U.S. air sovereignty at all costs.
I was kind of coming through high school, I never really knew what I wanted to do. After 9/11 and I saw the impact it had on all different families, I did want to do something for our country. I served in Kirkuk, Iraq, and my duties there is broken up into a few different sectors. I was in the Gator sector, which we primarily were in charge of the enter-control point to the installation. For me, I found it very prideful, knowing that I was doing something for our country, being overseas, and just knowing you're doing the right thing.
But the Maine Air National Guard's dominance does not come from its aircraft or technology. Its true strength comes from the ingenuity and sacrifice given by its most powerful weapon, its airmen.
Not when you go away to basic training, not when you become a distinguished graduate, not when you graduate with 100%, not when you come back and invent whatever it is that you're going to invent and make this unit better than it is. You are critical now. And so being critical to this organization, having invested some time, effort, and energy into your budding careers, we expect you, one, to recognize that, and two, protect it.
You know, it's the passing of the torch from one generation to the other, and we don't miss a bit. You know, what our past generations did was great. What our future generations are doing is just as great, if not greater. Things change. But with that change, the one thing that remains constant is that we're all maniacs.
Integrity, excellence, commitment, values handed down from one generation to the next. This is your heritage. This is your duty. This is your story.